Movie Time is produced by John DeSando. Listen to shows and read reviews online at wcbe.org.
I'm John DeSando.
And I'm Mindy Mcfann.
And this is This Movie Time.
Sure enough.
Okay, it's time to travel.
Yes, it is.
Let's go to Iran.
Okay.
You're not anybody's first choice, I think. But there is a movie out, Mindy, called A Hero. Now, this has got to be no news to Americans who love their heroes.
Yeah, it's a different kind.
Why?
Well, we in America have heroes that jump off of buildings, and they're pure, and they're all good, and they're heroic and bigger than life, and they never do anything wrong.
And that's not the case of A Hero?
No.
Oh, why?
Because these are real people. Real people.
Well, he gets himself entangled.
Mm-hmm.
And the good thing is you can see how you can get entangled in Iranian society.
Yes.
And just as it could happen here.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something claustrophobic
Yes.
about this. And what's his, what makes him less than the hero you very Broadway-like expounded there a minute ago?
Because he is imperfect. Everybody in the movie to me was imperfect. I thought that was a big part of the movie. I mean, he starts out, he's on leave from jail. So, it's not the first place you go for a hero, somebody who didn't pay their debts. And
Mindy, isn't it, it's so peculiar. He couldn't pay his debts, so, right?
Yes.
But he spent 2 years in jail because of that.
Yes. You definitely get a cultural moray about not paying your debts.
Yes. So he has leave for a couple days. Isn't that nice of them? Thank you.
Yes.
But not funny, amusing thing to me is you go in and out of that jail with nobody there.
Mm-hmm.
They open the gates for you, you come in, you check in, you go in.
And you're in regular clothes.
Right. This is pretty casual, but apparently you can't get away with much there.
No.
You couldn't skip town.
No, but it is, when you that was my first thought too, comparing it to our prison system.
Yes.
Where they take away your humanity completely and your clothes and they shove you in a cage.
Yes.
And forget about you.
Yeah. Perhaps it's because they intuitively know that the guy's not really a bad guy, he just couldn't pay his debt.
Yeah.
And big sin working through loan shark.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Although somebody puts up surety for him, Byron, I think is his
Yes.
name. Yeah.
Yes. Well, and a pseudo relative.
Yeah, right. And
his ex-brother-in-law.
Yeah, puts up that money and he won't give up.
Mm-hmm.
He won't give this guy. So what is flawed about Rahim, I think is what we call him. Rahim, yes.
Yes, well, he and his girlfriend, his girlfriend finds gold, not gold nuggets, but coins.
Yeah.
And they're trying to decide whether they should take the money and use it to get him out of debt, aka steal it, or at the second thought, he decides they should find the owner of it. So it's not this clear, we found this, I'm going to turn it in. It's much more human in the evolution
Mindy.
Of your conscience.
Right, and because you're so good, you try to avoid revealing too much of plot. But I think we have to say, initially he really was going to cash in. Mm-hmm. And then he decided to offer it up to the person whoever was out there who had lost it because of what it would look like. Because it would enhance his reputation. Mm-hmm. In other words, he's slightly corrupt in the things that he's done. His reason for turning that money back was that people would know what a good guy he was. Mm-hmm. And they would not know that he initially thought he might cash them in. Mm-hmm. Crucial, like little moral difference or ethical, however you want to call it, in that the way he appears and appearance is very important.
Right.
And so where else do we find him?
Well, because everybody's cashing in on appearance. The prison wants to look like they rehabilitated this guy, so they're all good.
Right, they had recently had a suicide.
Yep.
So they had their reasons for coming off positively in the public consciousness.
Yes.
Right.
Also, the charity that was trying to help him and reward him, they wanted to look good.
Isn't that to me, that is another one of the amusing turns of this, is this we consider charities to be sacrosanct.
Mm-hmm.
This Jerry was definitely, I should say, flawed.
Yes. Which I presume is the truth. I've worked for a nonprofit. We weren't all saints.
No, right.
And maybe I'm more of a cynic.
No, I think that's a great observation.
That if I were in prison and I wanted to get out to be with my family, I find it hard to believe it wouldn't run through my head. Will I or won't I? I mean,
Yes, yeah. So those were, and I hasten to introduce here something that will be more familiar to everybody here than we would have expected, and that is social media. How does that fit in?
yeah, well, he gets in a tussle with his ex-brother-in-law because he wants his ex-brother-in-law to forgive the debt so he doesn't have to go back to jail.
Yes.
And it gets escalated because the brother-in-law is, he's not just angry about the money. I think he's angry because he feels he's been had or taken advantage of. And so he is angry plus.
Yes.
And it escalates into a physical fight in this little teeny weeny store that his brother-in-law owns, and they get in a fight and somebody films it.
Yes.
So that's put out into the social media about what his what his character is.
Yes, and be aware that Iranian society is just as much up on its technology as we are. So you're going to have people broadcasting right from their phones.
Yeah.
And they're using their phones liberally, and they're using them now just the way we do. They're capturing everything, including when there are fights,
Yes.
when police molest citizens.
Yep.
They're there with it. So that's another thing, Mindy, that I like about this movie. It brings home Iran to me in a way that I hadn't thought.
Mm-hmm.
Women in this movie are playing a prominent role.
Yes.
And I thought it was burqas and chadras or whatever they call them. I thought that was all it. I'd never see them. I'd never hear from them.
Yeah, my Muslim women friends are,
Yes.
yeah, they may not yell in the same way an American woman does, but they're all running things.
No, I found it just so fascinating. So these women, including the girlfriend, who is instrumental
Yes.
with the business of the gold coins.
Yes. And his sister was taking care of his child,
Wow.
who his wife is not.
Yes.
His ex-wife, for some reason, isn't taking care of the child. His sister is.
Yeah. In fact, what about that household?
Well, my guess is that in Iran, men have more control over where their children go than they do here.
Yeah.
And so I presume he may have gotten custody of the children or primary custody.
Yeah, good question. I may have known. One of the things about this film, it's so dense with family
Yes.
and interactions
Yep.
and twists and turns that you do have to pay a little bit of attention to
Sure.
what's going on.
Yeah.
Yes, there's something to me about the way that they enjoy each other in that close quarters.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed to me a kind of almost enviable family life. Is that, how does you think?
Well, eating together,
Yeah,
cooking together,
Yeah.
taking in your nephew, that kind of wonderful dependence that comes with the forced need. It is the positive side of having less than, is that you need other people more. So this ultra independence that Americans seem to strive for, that the pinnacle of being is to not need anybody.
Oh,
You know.
Mindy, and we're in Bible class. We have a book in which the collectivism is really the center of it, not being independent. And in fact, the New York Times had an article a week ago in which the writer excoriated Dr. Oz because he was promoting individualism. And as long as you bought some of his products.
Well, because he's a capitalist quack, that's why.
I know.
Had to get that in there.
I know. And I thought, and he's running for Senate in Pennsylvania. But her column was a caution about him. But it was bringing home the same thesis as Ogilvy in Looking for God in the Wrong Places, is that there are things that we're going to have to do together.
Yes.
And certainly this COVID has proven to us. And it becomes more and more obvious to me every day that the people who are standing out in the old 19th century Emersonian self-reliance are out of tune with what it takes to survive.
And they're lonely and sad and depressed.
I know.
And we keep going after this thing that we all know ends up in misery. I don't know why. I don't have the answer to that one. But no, they stick together even, and that it's very interesting because they stick together in the mess. It's not clean. It's not, oh, my brother is so well behaved, I'll take in his children and I'll help him out. Nobody is doing anything but being a mess in this movie. Everybody is totally human.
Oh, I know, and I love the fact that they ultimately want to help each other, but also sabotage each other. It's so human,
Yes.
you know. And you, as you had said, everybody is flawed in this. You're right. I'm thinking, there's one really good person in this.
His son?
I knew you would know that. So the son has a disability.
Stutters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So big deal. What?
Yeah.
So what? How does it figure?
I think because his flaw, he was born with, and the adult's flaws were developed.
Well,
And that's the difference between a child and an adult.
well, I was going to tell you something, Mindy. People are going to have to go to our website, go to the our back talk, which would be in our podcast experience, because we're about to shut this down.
Go see it.
And why?
Because it's important to remind ourselves that we're all so human.